What's the most satisfying way you've got back at an annoying boss? I'd been working there for 3 years as a pharmacy technician, and we had this corporate policy that was absolutely ridiculous. If a customer's insurance got denied, we couldn't dispense medication until they paid full price up front or provided alternate insurance. No exceptions, no manager override, no payment plans. Most of the time, this policy just meant people left frustrated and came back later. But sometimes, it meant people went without life-saving medication because they couldn't afford $400 on the spot. Tuesday morning in September, this woman named Janet came in for her husband's insulin refill. Regular customer, sweet lady, always polite to staff. But when I ran her insurance, it got denied. Something about a prior authorization that had expired. The full price is $387, I told her. But you can call your doctor to renew the prior auth, and it should go through by tomorrow. Janet's face went pale. He's completely out. He used his last dose this morning. What happens if he doesn't get insulin today? I explained that insulin isn't something you can skip, especially for someone with type 1 diabetes. She needed to either pay the full price or contact her doctor immediately. I don't have $387 right now, she said, starting to cry. My husband's been out of work for 2 months. I've been stretching everything we have just to pay rent. She called her doctor's office right there at the counter. The prior authorization would take 2 to 3 business days to process. Her husband needed insulin that day. I looked at Janet crying in my pharmacy, knowing her husband could go into diabetic ketoacidosis without his medication, and I made a decision. You know what? Take the insulin. Pay me back when the insurance goes through. I processed the prescription, handed her the insulin, and made a note in the system about the delayed payment arrangement. Janet was so grateful she hugged me right there at the counter. You just saved my husband's life, thank you. 3 days later, her insurance approved the prior auth, and she came back to pay. Everything worked out perfectly, except my manager Blake had reviewed the transaction logs and called me into his office. Sophia, did you dispense medication without collecting payment? Yes, but the customer paid as soon as her insurance. That's a direct violation of company policy. We've talked about this before. Blake, the guy needed insulin. It was a life or death situation. Policy doesn't have exceptions for life or death. You could have told her to go to the emergency room. For a $387 prescription she couldn't afford, that would cost her thousands. Not our problem. You're terminated immediately. I was escorted out that afternoon like I'd stolen something instead of helping someone access medication they desperately needed. When my coworkers found out what happened, they were furious. These were people who'd worked together for years, who'd seen me cover shifts when they were sick, who knew I genuinely cared about our customers. My friend Lisa, who'd been there for 8 years, was the first to speak up. If they'll fire Sophia for saving someone's life, what happens when one of us shows basic human decency? By Friday, word had spread through the entire pharmacy staff. The techs, the pharmacists, even some of the front-end cashiers were talking about how wrong my firing was. Monday morning, I got a text from Lisa. Half the pharmacy staff just called in sick. We're not coming back until they fix this. 12 employees didn't show up for work. The pharmacy had to close early because they didn't have enough staff to operate safely. Corporate was getting calls from customers asking why their neighborhood pharmacy was suddenly closed. The strike lasted 4 days. Blake was trying to run the pharmacy with 3 people, falling further behind every hour. Customers were complaining, prescriptions were delayed, and the district manager was demanding answers. Thursday afternoon, I got a call from the district manager. Sophia, we'd like to offer you your job back. Just like that, with a $3 per hour raise and a promotion to senior technician. We're also revising the policy about emergency medication situations. When I came back the following Monday, there was a new protocol in place. Pharmacy staff could approve emergency dispensing for life-sustaining medications with manager notification and a payment plan set up. Exactly what should have existed all along. Janet brought me cookies the next week and told me her husband was doing great. I heard you got in trouble for helping us. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry. Sometimes doing the right thing costs something, but my coworkers made sure I didn't pay that cost alone. Blake, by the way, got transferred to a different store. Apparently having half your staff walk out makes corporate question your management skills.